Okay, so I was wondering if someone could give me some input on this one. So basically reassembling here my lower unit for Johnson 55 horsepower from 1979. It's a Seahorse. Got all the original parts catalogues here and the manual. So managed to sear off a bolt and kind of annoyed about this because I was religiously following the manual. I go on a lot of the boat forums and I'm definitely an amateur when it comes to kind of this stuff. So, you know, I listen to what the professionals say and they say, always read the manual, always read the manual. So that's what I was doing. And I've got, this is literally the original manual from 1979. And yeah, I cleaned up these parts. They are probably fairly old, I would imagine, bolts, I think. Not too sure on the history of the actual bolts themselves. Anyhow, here is the setting, and this is the bolt in question. So it's number 34 here, which equates to the screw cover to gear case. And it basically specifies, I don't know if I have the page handy here. Let me just try and find that. Specified in the manual. Here you go. I think that was the one. Ensure cover assembly screws to torque specified in section 2. So again, following the manual, so go to section 2, which I did, read through this, and here are the torque charts, and it basically says here standard screws, 7/16 inch, torque them to 38 to 40 Newton meters. It says these torque values apply unless otherwise specified. They were not otherwise specified, so this must be the value. So I have my trusty tool here, which admittedly is a bit of a cheapo tool. I bought probably from Biltema, a cheapo Swedish store. But either way, I haven't used it. I've used it about 10 times in my life, and it's basically new. Even so, I thought I would test it just to make sure this thing was actually working. So I stuck it on this and just basically torqued it. It clicked, and so I thought, okay, this thing's working. The torque wrench is working good. So went to measure the bolts, got a 7/16 socket here, and as you can see, it fits quite snugly. There's a little bit of play, but I think that's just from the shearing on the bolt head, so I think that's the size of them. So 7/16, so that's supposed to be 38 Newton meters, and I set it to actually the lower of the two measurements, so 38, you can see here, Newton meters, and I set it to 38. And still the damn thing came off. So as I was bolting it, it felt like this thing was going to go. I felt super unsafe wrenching this more, but I was just the mantra of follow the manual, follow the manual. So I followed the damn manual and the thing snapped. So now I have that lovely thing wedged in there. I don't have access to these bolts. I'm in Sweden, and these were a nightmare to find. If anyone has one of these, that would be super useful. Going to do some Googling and see if I can get that part. They're Imperial units, Imperial bolts, obviously specialist bolts as well, so they withstand water and salt and all that stuff. So yeah, that's where I am. So yeah, now I'm on a hunt to find this bolt, but also curious to know what I did wrong here. I'm just curious to learn as well, really. You know, there's this philosophy of follow the manual, so I followed the damn manual. My gut feeling was it's too tight, and this thing was just, don't know, it's kind of an old thing, so maybe that's just the thing, that it's old and the manual's good until it's not, and it's a case of, you know, these this gasket could obviously have something to do with it if it was maybe a bit on the thicker side. I believe I got an original gasket. I actually have the gasket. I have an extra one somewhere. Let's see if I can find the one I used. I actually got two of them just to be safe, so I don't know where the other one went actually, so, but anyhow, oh, because here it is. Yeah, so this was the actual gasket I used. I got it, it was branded, I think, as original, but doesn't look very original to me unless it's been repackaged. So yeah, curious if maybe if the gasket was a bit too thick, that could have caused that kind of effect, but clutching at straws a bit here, really. So yeah, what's the advice here? Do I follow the manual, which I did, and then this happens, or did I follow my gut feeling? Did I do something wrong here? Have I measured these bolts wrong? Just curious to know what I did wrong there.